good evening, and welcome to another episode of the all-new TTown 411 report and our community conversations. We're broadcasting live from the studio here in McKinstry Land, and we're also broadcasting live on Sound Booth Radio and Sound Booth TV with my good friend Mike. Mike, tell them how can they sound in on Sound Booth Radio and Sound Booth TV.
All right, sure thing, Daryl. Check us out on Sound Booth ENT, Sound Booth TV. Just go to the iOS and Google Play Store and download the Live 365 app. Once you download that app, type in Sound Booth Radio 106.1, and that'll get you on with us on the radio side. On the video side of Sound Booth Radio, just go to YouTube or Facebook Live, type in Sound Booth Radio 106.1, and that'll get you on with us on the video side.
Okay.
Sound Booth ENT.
Well, we appreciate you, Mike, for broadcasting this live on your Sound Booth Radio internet radio station. And we got our very own Miss Veronica Taylor, who keeps us updated with our health and COVID updates. Go ahead, Veronica.
Hello, Darren. Hello, Mike, and everybody. Today's COVID-19 update at DCH. As of yesterday, August 5th, there are 6 people in DCH with C-19, and there are 5 or fewer being treated for flu. The masks right now are optional amongst employees, visitors, and patients. The masks are now optional. Tuscaloosa County remains in a substantial level, though. They remain on a substantial level for transmission, and Fayette County remains on a high level of transmission. So there may be cases, but they're not to the point of having the numbers in the hospital increase. The numbers in the hospital continue to go down. This is as close as they've been to like maybe 5 or less as far as C-19 goes. The monkeypox update, as I state every week, ranges around 187 to 188. I think that may be the total since the monkeypox outbreak started, because it's only been very minimal movements, and that was like 187 to 188. Flu season is almost over. They're still offering people vaccinations, but it's pretty much over. But that does not mean that it's completely gone. So continue to be safe. Continue to distance when you think that you may be at an elevated risk, and wash your hands, sanitize, and keep your distance.
Okay. Well, we thank you for that update. Let me go ahead and get our disclaimer in here right quick. And the disclaimer reads as follows. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing non-profit, educational, or personal use tip. Balance in favor of fair use. As always, I want people to know the opinions expressed in this presentation are my personal opinions and must not be construed as representing the opinion of any institution which I am or have been affiliated in my professional life. And that goes for all the guests on the program, as well as Veronica and Mike. I want to say hello to everyone that's chiming in. I see Miss Blunzell. How you doing? Thanks for chiming in. Kai Porter. My good friend Philip Conner from high school. He's chiming in with me. We're going to talk about that later on. 40 years coming up. 83. Class 83 celebrating 40 years of reunion time coming up. Well, it's prayer time. We always say a quick prayer, and we got our guests on the phone waiting with us already. So we're going to go ahead and do a quick prayer, and then we will start our interview with our guests. And I'm assuming they will take questions if you want to chime in with us about questions also. So if you would just bow your head, and we'll start a quick prayer. Heavenly Father, thank you for this day. Thank you for this opportunity to come on the airways and share information and gather knowledge. Heavenly Father, I want to thank you for our guests for coming on and sharing this great amount of information. Heavenly Father, we give you all the praise and all the glory. We want to thank you for your grace and your mercy for giving us the opportunity to breathe today. Heavenly Father, we're praying for all our essential workers, all our doctors and nurses, all the ones that are in the hospitals and in the nursing homes. We're praying for all our pastors right now and their families. We're asking that you continue to watch over them. Praying for all our first responders, all our fire and military personnel. Heavenly Father, we ask that you continue to watch over the families in Ukraine. We praying for those members and families that's going through the war in Ukraine. Right now, we're praying for all our government officials. Heavenly Father, we're asking that you touch their hearts and let them lead this country and this world in the right direction, that peace may be upon us. Heavenly Father, we just can't say we can't thank you enough. You've been good, better to us than we've been to ourselves. We just want to say thank you, Heavenly Father. Go with the families that are in bereavement right now. Touch them and let them know your will has been done, Heavenly Father. In your Son, Jesus Christ's name we pray. Amen.
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 Amen. Amen. Well, we got guests on the program tonight, Mike and Veronica. We got Mr. Tommy Woods, Mr. Mason Bonner, and our very own Miss Deborah Minor, who's joined the conversation also. And I'm just gonna let them take the wheel and introduce themselves and tell them what's going on with how can the churches and local organizations help out in the district. So go ahead. Whoever want to take the lead.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Dale, and everybody for having us on. We are the Church and Community Outreach Program of Tuscaloosa, and we're here to talk about what we have gone on in April, April 11th. But I want to say this about this particular group and I cannot tell you how proud I am to be in the midst of this group. I'm talking about these men that I will introduce, each and every one of them, who know their purpose in life, who live their purpose in life, who walk the walk that they talk. I am so honored to be that they voted me as the coordinator of this event. So I'm very proud of this. We're talking about men who have been on the battlefield of life over 50 years. We're not talking about people who just started last year, 10 years ago. We're talking 20, 30, 40, and over 50 years of being on the battlefield and doing the work of God, and who have touched the lives of thousands of people. And let me introduce our steering committee. We have Benny Harris. Benny Harris is a retired principal and teacher of the Tuscaloosa City School. Benny Harris, I'm sorry, not Benny Harris, Benny Smith I'm talking about right now. Benny Smith is a retired principal and teacher of the Tuscaloosa City School. I will imagine that anyone who has been in the city schools on the west side of Tuscaloosa, Benny Smith have touched their lives. He's a member of St. Peter's AME Zion Church. I call him Mr. AME because Benny Smith has been on this battlefield. I can remember Benny because I started off as an AME Zion, and he has been working and doing a lot of things in the community and still is. Our next member of the steering committee is Benny Harris. Benny Harris is retired and he's a deacon at Beulah Baptist Church. And I met Benny over 30 years ago when I was working in the fitness, teaching aerobics and weight training at one of the facilities, and Benny came in. I noticed that there was something special about Benny Harris. And today I know exactly what it is. This is one of the kindest, hardworking men that I know. You ask Benny Harris, can you help? No doubt he's there. Anything you want him to do, he's there. Love Benny. I love both of the Bennys. But Benny Harris is one I've been knowing for a very, very long time. Another steering committee member is Dr. Joseph Scribner. Dr. Joseph Scribner is the pastor of Brown Presbyterian Church here in Tuscaloosa. I call him Michael Eric Dyson. If you don't know who Michael Eric Dyson is, please go Google Michael Eric Dyson and you have Dr. Joseph Scribner. He's a scholar. He earned his PhD from Princeton, and he is inducted in the Morehouse College of Ministers. But I tell you this, if you come to Dr. Scribner and you want to talk, you better be talking the talk because he will set you straight. Like I say, he is the Michael Eric Dyson of the group. And we also have Mr. Mason Barnard. I believe Mason was the first black man I ever saw in a bank. And he wasn't in the back office, he was in the front office. Mason Barnard has helped so many people in Tuscaloosa and did so many things. Mason has been active all of his life, along with everybody else. He's been active and he has changed many things. I am so proud of this man. And right now, God has given Mason the position that he rightly deserved. He is now the Director of Social Justice and Community Engagement at Stillman College. That's the Director of Social Justice and Community Engagement at Stillman. A deserving post, and I can't think of anyone who is more deserving than Mason Barnard for this position. Thank you, Mason. I love you. Our next person, he's the architect of this vision, of what we are going to do. He's the architect. His name is Mr. Tommy Woods. Mr. Woods been working on that battlefield for over 50 years. I remember I started on the battlefield in my 20s. A matter of fact, if what I did when I was in the first grade was called a battlefield when I stood up for the rights of the poor, I guess I've been doing this for a long time. But I remember in my 20s, everywhere I looked, I heard Mr. Woods, Mr. Woods, Mr. Woods. And I would always run into him on certain things. He was on one end, he was on the religious tip, and I was on the street tip fighting for justice, fighting for our fair share. He was doing the same thing, but it was dealing in the religious realm. I love Mr. Woods, and I always wanted to be around Mr. Woods. But here it is, it had come in full circle that God had placed all of us, everybody that I just mentioned, in a group together. Each and every one of us give 100% and over to do what we need to do to get that job done. Like I say, Mr. Woods is the architect. This is his vision. I worked Mr. Woods' vision along with others last year. I saw, I heard, the people spoke, we gathered information, took it back, and it did some good. I see his vision. So I'm gonna, with further ado, I'm gonna quit talking so much. And I would like to bring Mr. Woods on, and he's gonna tell you about what we have planned and his vision. So Mr. Woods.
Thank you, Deborah. I'm here. Deborah, I might need to get you to speak at my funeral one day.
Thanks so much, Deborah, and thanks so much for your hard work. We've been so impressed with how well you come in and whatever you are asked to do and however you can help, you give it 100%. And we thank you so very, very much. We are just grassroots organization, grassroots people trying to do something to help with the problems that we have here in Tuscaloosa. And Tuscaloosa is just like no other city right now. It's got an increase in gun violence, drugs, crime, and primarily it's amongst our youth and our young adults. And so we started last year with this group, and we're continuing this year with it. Our primary mission of what we're trying to do to everybody is to mobilize churches and civic groups and other community ministries to get them involved in trying to make a positive difference in this city, one block at a time. We're trying to bring all of the stakeholders together to work together for a common goal. You know, the African proverb says that it takes a village to raise a child. And we're trying to bring us all together to act together to try and bring some things together here in Tuscaloosa to make a difference. The plan that we started last year was called the Neighborhood Zone Adoption. This is where we're organizing neighborhoods into zones and asking a faith-based organization like a church or a civic organization or an individual to coordinate these zones with positive activities. We started last year in District 2, and we started in District 2 because that's where my church is, in District 2. And also Beulah is in District 2, and so is St. Peter. And we started with District 2, and we worked closely with Raven Howard, and she was very cooperative in helping us to move with this project. Last year, we had these three churches that adopted the zones right around them, Bethel, Beulah, and St. Peter. Bethel, gave it Zone 1, and they adopted 24th Street, 25th Street, 26th Street from the church location down to T.Y. Rogers Avenue. Then Beulah Baptist Church, Zone 2, adopted all of Brown Circle and 22nd and 23rd Street to T.Y. Rogers Avenue. St. Peter was Zone 3 and adopted 26th, 27th, and 28th Street from that area where they were to down at Washington Boulevard. We had 3 events last year. We had one of the events, of course, we had training for the events first. We did training at Beulah Baptist Church on April the 23rd, and we went all over procedures on how we could do a walkthrough and thing. We had Steve Sanders there from the police department to give us some ideas and some guidance as well how we could do the walkthroughs in the community. And of course, the adoption is for us, we were going to do mass walkthrough, but it also is where the churches or whatever group adopts a neighborhood can do other activities at any time that it wishes. But it's a way to engage in the community, engage in with the people right around you. We conducted a walkthrough on April the 30th last year. And during this walkthrough, each of us had a calling card. And that calling card has telephone numbers on it that we gave to all of the residents of that particular neighborhood. It had numbers on there for them to call for if there's crime that they saw, and they could call this number and remain anonymous. We had numbers on there for help things for Mark Watley Center, Indian Rivers, Capstone, Phoenix House. We had information on there about the Habitat for Humanity, how they could get a roof done or even get a new house if they were trying to get a new house. So we had this calling card printed and gave it to everyone that we visited. We also had a list of churches. And since we were doing this in District 2, we pulled up all of the churches in District 2 and we gave that to the people. We had an evangelistic track since these were church during these walkthroughs, and we gave them, if we asked the question if they were concerned about anything spiritual, or if they were in a church home, we would talk with them on that, and they gave them an evangelistic tract. We spoke from an interactive card. We gave each person who was doing the walkthrough a card, and on that card, we guided them into what questions they could ask. Of course, we told them when you meet somebody, don't argue with them, and don't be judgmental, of course, but you could ask them, how do they see the neighborhood, are there any concerns they have for that neighborhood? And of course, the last thing we asked them if they had a church home. Then we would bring that report back to our churches, and we would write it up, and we would give a copy of things that needs to be given to Raven Howard, who is with this district. We would give her a copy of concerns that the people in the community had. The second event we had was a cleanup. We had a cleanup on June the 18th, and the city, of course, provided all the materials for the cleanup. We did the cleanup in our same areas that we had chosen to use. And the third event we had last year was a symposium where we brought the city, government, and citizens together to discuss about our concerns about our city and what we could do. This year, we're hoping to expand the neighborhood zone adoption. We want to move further into District 2 and into District 1 primarily, but also we want to go even further than there to other districts to push this idea of the neighborhood zone adoption. We feel that particularly churches, if they would really move out into the community and learn the people, learn some of the concerns there and see what some of the problems are there, we'd be a lot better in trying to curb some of the problems that we have here in this city. So we are trying to really expand this. We're partnering with Mason Bonner, I'm sorry, he's online now, and his Office of Social Justice and Community Engagement. And we're inviting churches and ministries to come this coming Tuesday to Stillman College, April the 11th at 6 p.m. for an organizational and strategy meeting. We want to do a walkthrough in May. And so, but we're trying to really mobilize as many churches and ministries as we possibly can to work on the problems that we have in Tuscaloosa. The police cannot do it all. They cannot do it all. We have to get involved. We just have to get involved to try and bring a difference here in this city. I can remember when I came up that you could leave your home and you leave the door unlocked. And when anybody go in there, even if you lock the door, you would put it up on a little ledge on the porch. So, but right now, it's the day where you can't do that. But we want to try and reach people, reach families, this is where our problem are. Some families are having problems with their children early on. And so as we do the walkthrough, we're going to learn a lot, about our neighborhood. But the main thing is that we're just going to be looking at the area right nearest us, starting at home, and then we can move forward from that point on, okay? So I'll be happy to answer any questions for anyone, but you give time, of course, for Mason, who's online too, to give information about this plan and what we're trying to do.
Thank you, Tommy. I appreciate the opportunity to be a part of this podcast and to be a part of this program. We certainly appreciate Deborah Minor's leadership and really thank God that she has been receptive to being the leader for this group and this group effort. As Mr. Woods has said, on the 11th of April, next Tuesday at 6 o'clock at the Stinson Math Science Auditorium, we will have a strategy and organizational meeting. We sent out earlier this week 80 letters to churches in the Tuscaloosa area, inviting them to come to this strategy meeting and to learn about the neighborhood adoption program, because we feel that it is a strengthening program for churches and it's a strengthening program for communities too.
a lot of people who reside in communities sometimes never see the people who go into the church buildings. And we're offering an opportunity for those people to come out of those church buildings on days other than Sunday and be a part of the community. We also have invited Dr. Garden Govins, who's in charge of the faith-based initiative at Stillman College. They had conducted a demographic study of the Western cluster of communities and schools, and he will be there to provide a PowerPoint presentation on those findings. And he also is a part of the Lilly Foundation's grant for thriving congregations, which includes the churches in the AME and Presbyterian uh, sector. And we'll be talking about how those churches have been coming together and developing community projects and community ideas. And it's an opportunity for those who are really interested in engaging in the community. And if you don't have an invitation, certainly you can contact us at Stillman or contact Miss Deborah Minor and be able to get a personal invite. We want everyone to come. We want everyone to feel a part of what we're trying to do. And we just encourage you to be concerned about the community and having the church and the community working together in this outreach program. And we thank you, Brother McKinstry, for this opportunity to be able to tell people about what we're doing with this community project.
Oh, no problem, no problem. I just wanted to add something to what you all are doing. I just want to say Mr. Wood's been involved a long time. I remember when I was on the police department, Mr. Woods and Miss Ernestine Tucker, they had an organization called Action something, Mr. Woods.
It was called the West Side Community Action Council.
Yes. Very active group of people that made some changes. I mean, it might have seemed like it was a small change, but it was a lot of changes that were made through your organizations of that. And you probably got like me. You probably think, okay, we've done all I could do. It's time for another generation to step up and take over and do what you can do to make things better. But it seems like we just got to stay on the battlefield the entire time. We can't stop. We just got to keep being involved and making things happen. And I'm proud to see that Stillman has promoted Mr. Bonner to a position that going to engage our community. I'm seeing Stillman, I'm seeing Shelton State, I'm seeing the churches, I'm seeing a lot of experience. I'm seeing God people and education all combined together to try to make a change in this community. So I'm very, very proud of everyone that's a part of this. Benny, Benny Harris, Principal Benny Smith, of course, Dr. Scrivener, yourself, Mason Bonner, and Mr. Woods. Dr. Scrivener is military, Navy personnel, ministry. I'm just proud to see the people that's stepping up and going to make a change. I really am.
Right.
And then thank you, Dale, for that. But I left off Terrell Coates. Terrell is also is on the steering committee of this, and he's been mentored by Mr. Woods.
Okay.
And if I had Mr. Woods to mentor me when I was younger, there's no telling what I would be now. But but I'm so glad Terrell is a young man. He's stepping forward and he's going to do great work. But I would like to add to this. We're not just talking about church and their ministry.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about other organizations. We're talking about the NAACP coming out, the SCLC coming out, these Greek organization coming out. We're talking about anyone who's working in the community, whether it's Big Boy and his group, whether it's all of these young people, Mello, or and he's gonna kill me for what's his name? That I'm so sorry. That always calling out Tim. Tim Robinson. All of these groups are invited because the thing about it is we're putting out information to help people, and in return, we're getting information from them. We want to see what's going on in your community. How can we help? We just see everybody. Like I said, it's not just the churches and their ministry. We're inviting everybody, and the thing about it is that we have people on your show, whether they're listening or typing or just whatever, that we're all talking about the same thing, and we're talking too long. We're talking loud, and we're not saying anything. As Jay Brown said, we're talking loud and we ain't saying nothing. This is the time for you to come out on April 11th and get involved, and let's do the work that God put us here to do. We are our brother's keeper.
And it's at 6 p.m. Tuesday, April 11th at Stillman College at the Birthright Auditorium or
Stinson Auditorium.
Stinson.
Main Science Building.
Okay, gotcha. Do y'all have a flyer or anything that we can post and pass and share?
Yes, I thought it would be ready earlier today, but yes, we'll have that flyer to you tomorrow, and we'd love for you to keep it posted there. And we appreciate
No problem.
all that you have done and
problem.
all that you're doing. Everybody on the show, Mike, Veronica, Lala, all of you guys. You have a podcast that's reaching many more than you think. So we really thank you for that.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much. But we definitely will get that information out. One thing I did want to say, I heard Mr. Wood say about a resource card or calling card that they put together. That's been needed for many years. A resource card to help people in sharing information for us, housing, mental health, um, education, jobs, financial assistance, whatever it might be, food banks. Um, this is wonderful. I can see the vision that Mr. Woods has, and the plan that you all are executing. This plan is very good. I'm very proud of the moves that y'all are making with this.
Right. There's one other thing too that came up, and we're going to try and include that now. We just found out about the city has a grant to test houses for lead, and we're going to try and make sure that this become a part of our pass out to let people know that if the house was built before a certain time, that the city will come out and inspect the house for lead, and especially if there's a child there. I think there are certain qualifications you have to have there. If there's a child, even if a child visits your house, they will inspect it and they will replace the wood. Or if it's a window sill, they'll replace the whole window sill. Yeah. So that's something that a lot of people probably don't know about, that we'll also be sharing with others as we move around.
That's great. Lead-based paint in houses.
Y'all said that y'all had 80 invites that were sent out in the mail.
Yes, sir.
Have y'all had any responses to any of those invites that were sent out, like any confirmation of other any other churches that might be interested in participating in this program?
Well, we'll be calling them. We'll be calling them starting this week. We were all on the steering committee assigned to churches, and we are going to have a follow up so that we can gauge how many will be able to participate next Tuesday. But between now and Monday, we are planning to call each and every one of those churches and make sure they receive the letter, and then give them a personal invite. Sometimes people don't read a lot of the announcements that come through the churches. So we assigned the members of the steering committee. Ms. Minor gave each of us an assigned group of churches to call. So we'll start those calls on this weekend, and then be able to call them all the way through Monday, leading up to the meeting on Tuesday.
Is that the same thing with the other organizations, such as the YCL, NAACP?
Yes.
Okay.
And we definitely want you there too, Mike. You, Veronica, Dare, Lala, all of you there. But I want to piggyback on something that Mr. Wood just spoke about with the environmental part. We're talking about getting rid of hazard material, toxic material, which is lead paint, lead in pipes, all of that. Did you know? And this may be some of the problem. Maybe part of the problem is that some of these houses, especially on the west end of town, which is one of the older side of town, some of these houses go way back because the houses prior to 1978 was built with lead pipes, lead paint, lead everything. And did you know that this causes behavior problems? If you living in a house older than 1978, and many houses are throughout Tuscaloosa, but on the west end side, we have houses that were built in the 30s. In the 30s, I remember last year walking to several houses, and when they opened the door, the gush of mold, mildew, and everything else was in those houses. So this is one thing that I am going to work hard on is the environmental issues. And west end of Tuscaloosa, not only are we talking about what's in the house, we're talking about the plants that's fumigating the air, that's polluting the air. We have all sorts of problems. And guess where the crime is? Not saying most of the crime, we just got crime here in Tuscaloosa. And on that west side of town, we're talking about schools who are putting our kids, writing them up for having behavior problems. And some of this stuff may be what's in their home. So we're going to get out there, and when we walk the community, we're going to preach to these people and see if we can get some of these homes cleaned up. And I pray we get a lot of them. So a lot of that information they do not know.
Good deal, good deal. If you'd like to call in and you have questions that you'd like to ask our guests, you can call in, preferably from 205-310-6067. 205-310-6067. That'll get you in contact with us here on the program. 205-310-6067. And if you have questions for our guests on the program tonight. Tonight we have Miss Deborah Minor, Mr. Mason Bonner, and Mr. Tommy Woods all on the program with us, talking about a new neighborhood zone adoption that's going to take place, that's already in effect. And right now they're just getting ready to execute Plan B, or Part 2 of the district neighborhood zones adoption program that they have already executed and instilled in the community. So there will be a meeting on April 11th at Stillman College at Stinson Auditorium at 6 p.m. That's correct?
Yes.
At 6
p.m.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And we will be sharing that information with, sharing it and asking other people to share it also.
Thank you so much.
Mr. Bonner been around, he's been involved, he's still involved. We appreciate everything you're doing, Mr. Bonner, and YMCA, McDonough Hughes Center, Stillman College, all the things you've done and still doing. Really appreciate all you all this spearheading this community in the right direction. I'm gonna just say that it's going in the right direction with getting the neighborhoods more involved, getting the churches more involved, getting organizations all more involved. And, we see all these particular organizations on Martin Luther King Jr. Holiday weekend, when we march from Beulah Missionary Baptist Church to City Hall. we see all these organizations, and we go down and we march to City Hall, and we get pumped up and hear some amazing words and speeches, and it's just a matter of now just inserting that same action that we do on that march on Martin Luther King weekend, that Monday, and just execute it. Just keep executing the plan, making it one neighborhood at a time, one block at a time, and I think we'll see a big change in our community. One thing I think we have to. I was talking with one of the West Alabama narcotic agents. We're going to have to get our community more aware about fentanyl. Fentanyl is invading our communities with overdoses, and we're not being able to understand what's going on at that particular time. So we really, really, really need to get more educated about this fentanyl that's invading our community. And I think that's going to be, we had the crack epidemic that came out in the 80s. And fentanyl is one of these deadly epidemics that we're seeing that's taking place now in our communities. So we really need to get our communities educated about fentanyl that's invading our communities too. So and I think there's someone or some groups trying to do a Narcan educational process. Veronica, I think you know a little bit or might have heard that there's a need for people to understand about the Narcan, the way it works and how to apply it. So I just want to add that into that also.
Yeah, the Narcan, I think that they got it where that you can now buy.
I think I heard you a little bit there. What was you saying about Narcan?
Yeah, about how to apply it and being
okay. The administration of Narcan in case of overdose.
Yes.
Okay.
And then they just made it where you can buy it. Well, a civilian can buy Narcan at I think the drugstores now.
Yes.
Two dose packs. So it's used to be able to save you for accidental overdoses on a lot of these prescription drugs that's out right now. Also, in the legislation, just put on Kay Adams' desk a bill a sponsored bill today for fentanyl that if you have 1 gram is 3 years mandatory prison time, and if you have 8 grams or more, then it's a lifetime sentence. So they just up the sentencing on fentanyl on possessed fentanyl.
Okay. Well, to give you the way that for anybody listening, when you do get your Narcan, if you do purchase it just in case of an overdose, it is a nasal administration. So, be careful with it. Make sure that it's not expired. But it is a nasal spray. It is a nasal spray given as an overdose remedy to different narcotics when people have overdosed. As we see, the Coolio report came out tonight, and he had fentanyl. What came out today had fentanyl, meth, and heroin. And they did rule it accidental, though. They did rule it accidental, but those were found in his system.
Okay. Just wanted to add that we got guests on the program. Once again, if you'd like to call, 205-826-7661 or 310-6067. We have Mr. Tommy Woods, Mr. Mason Bonner, and Miss Deborah Minor on the program with us. They're talking about a very, very, very good program called the Neighborhood Zone Adoption Program that's already been initiated in District 2. And they want to expand it more to other districts. And there's going to be an event that's going to take place on Tuesday, April 11th at Stillman College at the Stinson Auditorium building. And they're asking all shape, forms, or fashion of organizations, churches, no matter how big or how small, please come out and be a part of this event that's going to take place on April 11th at Stillman College. Anything else, Mr. Bonner or Mr. Woods or Miss Ms. Minor?
Well, I'd just like to add what Ms. Minor had mentioned about the sororities. I know they have a council, we call it Hellenic Council, I believe, for all the Greek organizations. So, and I don't know, Mason, do you know how to get in touch with all of the Greek organizations? You don't hear me, okay? But I would like to see if we could get in touch with the Greek organizations to become a part of this too. They do a lot of service kinds of things from the organization. So if there's anyone who is a part of one and listening right now, if you could really also encourage them to come out and connect with us on Tuesday of next week.
Okay.
And on Tuesday, it is an organization and strategy meeting.
Right.
Okay, that's for next week on April 11th. And the event will take place in May. And Mr. Woods, what's that date? I'm not looking at it right now.
Well, the date in May, it has not been set in stone, but it's going to be after, of course, Mother's Day.
Okay, that's right.
And so, and I think Mother's Day is the second Sunday, and then before the graduations occur. Yeah.
Okay. So April, go ahead. I'm sorry.
So I think we'll set that in stone on Tuesday when we meet, and make sure that we don't interfere with anything that's going on, like graduation or things of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it's the organization and strategy meeting. So we need everybody there. Everybody who's concerned about what we need to do in the community, you need to come out. And we will join forces and we'll canvass District 1 and District 2, and which is a large area. So we'll start there, then we will spread out. Thank you.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we appreciate y'all coming on the program and get that flyer to me, and we would definitely share it throughout the weekend. It's Easter weekend. We'll post it on our Facebook pages and share it and share it and share it.
Okay, that sounds great, and happy anniversary to you and Sonia.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
All right. Thank you, guys. Have a good night.
You too.
Thank you. You too. Thank you.
All right, good night, Good night, everybody.
Okay.
Good night.
We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back right after this, you all, and we'll talk. I want to talk a little bit more about the concept about this fentanyl. We've already talked about it quite often here on the program, but it is now penetrating. We had a couple, I think about 6 months, maybe 8 months ago, there was an arrest of a young lady that had enough fentanyl to kill everybody in the whole District 1 and 2 alone.
Mm-hmm.
And, we spoke about that, and I think it's now that we start our very own educational process about this fentanyl that's going on in our community. Is slowly creeping more and more into our community. We heard about it in California, Georgia, Florida, other states. Now it's slowly creeped into West Tuscaloosa, Alabama. So we're going to see a lot more of these overdoses, and I think we need to be able to understand what's going on and what we can do to try to assist or help, because this drug is, if I'm correct, you can be touching a person that has it, and it can affect you also. So we just want to make sure we get that information out to our people about this fentanyl. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back. Anything anybody want to talk about, you can call in on 205-310-6067, and we'll continue our conversation in just a moment. Stay tuned.
Hello? Hey, Rick. I had to call you to tell you that the food that you brought to the party last night was wonderful. It made me think about my grandmother's cooking. Where did you get that food, brother?
I went down to Thomas Rib Shack to pick up the ribs, but when I got there, I seen that they had more than just ribs. I seen baked chicken, fried chicken, corn muffins, vegetables, apple pie, peach pie, and I looked around and I seen a sign that told me that they got chitlins and oxtails on Sunday. Oh, all I can tell you, go down to 2931 15th Street or just give them a call like I did at area code 205-759-5010. Thomas Red Shack, Tuscaloosa, Alabama.
Tuscaloosa, get ready for the TTown Memorial Day Weekend Blues and Grill Festival, Saturday, May 27th at Palmore Park, featuring O.B. McKenna, Avail Hollywood,
Is you 25 and
Arthur Young, Tucker,
They call me Tucker.
TK Soul, Miss Jody, plus Donnie Ray and the J. Mars Group. Also a special Tuscaloosa. Get ready for the T-Town Memorial Day Weekend Blues and Grill Festival, Saturday, May 27th at Palmore Park, featuring O.B. McKenna, Avail Hollywood,
Is you 25 and
Arthur Young, Tucker,
They call me Tucker.
TK Soul, Miss Jody, plus Donnie Ray and the J. Mars Group. Also a special guest.
For over 27 years here in Tuscaloosa, Catfish Heaven has been pleasing our taste buds with their delicious catfish, pan trout, hot wings, coleslaw, hush puppies, and don't forget about those made-to-order French fries. Whether it's your snack time, lunchtime, or dinner time, give the guys a call over at Catfish Heaven at 205-752-7222, or you can make your order online at catfishheaventuscaloosa.com. So head on over to Catfish Heaven at 2502 21st Street. See you there.
Get your event jumping with Caroline Shines and Impulse Band. Impulse Band has been together for over 7 years, and they haven't missed a beat yet. The band has and will play in various venues and doesn't mind traveling to you. Being led by Alabama Blues Hall of Famer herself, Mrs. Caroline Shine. Impulse has opened up for Bobby Rush, L.J. Eccles, Tank, Fantasia, Calvin Richardson, just to name a few. The Impulse Band will surely fit your need for entertainment. Dial 205-887-6859 or 205-887-5026. Or you can just email them at shinesbrightly@yahoo.com. Caroline Shines and Impulse, the band made just for you.
Well, don't forget to support the sponsors of this program. We want to thank each and every one of them for being a part of this program for so long. And don't forget to go by. Tomorrow's Friday. It's a great day to go by. Get you some Thomas barbecue or some Catfish Heaven wings and fish, or just have a great evening out at the park. So don't forget about the upcoming Blues Festival that's going to take place on May 27th, and much, much more. We got a whole lot more events coming up on April the 28th. Gospel recording artist John P. Key will be coming to Greater Faith Church on Friday, April the 27th. So lots of events coming up. So if you got events coming up, please inbox me and let me know, and we'll be glad to announce them right here on the program. Also on May 20th and 21st, Miss Shauna D. Moore is having her very own That's the Way Love Grows stage play. That's going to take place at Birthright Auditorium on Stillman College campus also. I want to say hello to all my good friends that's chiming in with us. Miss Betty Hopkins, Carrie Ash, Anjanetta Harden, all the way from Memphis, Tennessee. Thank you for chiming in. Miss Belvedere Madison, thank you for listening. Daniel Vanderhorn, Kyle Porter, Blunzell, and all the rest of the people that's chiming in on the program with us. We just want to thank you for chiming in here on the TTown 411 report here each and every Tuesday and Thursday at 8 p.m. We try to be consistent as
Hey,
possible.
there. I also want to remind everybody about this coming up Saturday from 11 to 2 o'clock at Greater Faith. They're having a community extravaganza. So you can come on down there. It's going to be all kinds of food, fun, games, and music. Everything's going to be down there. It's all free. You do not have to be a member of Greater Faith to join to come out, but you can come on out. I think Bishop Evans said something about baptizing like 39 people on Saturday also. So all around is going to be a good time out there. So it's going to be a income for the kids, gaming truck for the teenagers, and everything that you might want to do. On Saturday from 11 to 2 at Greater Faith, down Highway 69 South in Mount Alabama.
Well, great. We was talking earlier before we went off the program. This is something. This conversation that I keep bringing up about this fentanyl has been on my mind to continue to mention and bring up to people because it's invaded our communities as well already, and I really don't want to see a stage of what we went through with COVID early on when we had COVID, where people and bodies were in refrigerators, literally in refrigerators. So we lived that, and this fentanyl has the potential to be as deadly as COVID was when it first invaded our community. So please.
It does, Daryl. Fentanyl, they said if you put in your hand salt, five of those little grains of salt is enough of and if that was fentanyl, that would be enough to kill most people, depending on their size, of course, and their tolerance.
Right.
But that's all it takes. It don't even take much. Know how small salt is. The granular salt.
Yes.
I want to say it's milligrams that can kill you, and once again, it is by touch. If you touch it, it can affect you. So ingest it is almost fatal all the time, and they put it in everything from pills to weed even. And all these other illicit drugs that are out there right now, they just adding fentanyl to everything.
Correct.
So it's not something that well, I know who I'm getting my stuff from. You don't know now. They lacing it in everything.
Yes.
To make everything more potent.
So that's exactly what's going on.
It's extremely dangerous.
Extremely dangerous, y'all. Extremely. And I was trying to compare it to crack, and this is really no comparison. It just kind of give you an idea of the perception of when crack cocaine invaded our community, how it affect the long-term effects. There were long-term effects, passed down a couple generations. And this will be wiping out a couple generations. That's basically what I'm saying about this particular drug.
It's enough, Daryl, to make Democrats and Republicans get on the same page. Everything, like I said earlier, they have it on K.I.'s desk. I don't know if she signed it yet, but it was unanimously passed through Alabama's legislation.
Yes.
To get the K.I.'s desk to sign into law. The harsher prison terms for this, they they know how dangerous it is. It's nothing to play with at all.
Yeah, Kira asked a very interesting question. She said, if I've seen video of a police officer um, accidentally inhaling it during a traffic stop, how do we safeguard ourselves? You know, it's almost to the point that we still need to continue to wear the latex gloves and the face mask. I mean, it's those are just some of the things we can try to do. We don't know. We never know when we're gonna be around someone that might have been involved in that particular. But
That's the good thing about most police officers. They do tend to wear gloves, but like in the case of some, it just depends on like who you come in contact with. If that stuff is floating around, or if it's been like, flounced in the air, something that's on this the window down.
mm-hmm.
Now, as far as that touching and ODing, that's like a misconception that they have to train a lot of police officers on in New York. The inhalation, yes, would definitely be something to look out for. But like touching, ODing by touching, it can burn if left in your hands too long. But the ODing by touching is like a misconception that's been floating around especially all our officer community, but the medical community as well. And once something like that gets in the public, it spreads like wildfire.
It does.
So there have been instances where it can burn your hand, but if people are thinking like the OD by touching it, there's limited research that shows that you could like OD actually by touching fentanyl, because there is medically prescribed fentanyl, and then there's the illicit fentanyl, which is manufactured. The synthetic, both of them are synthetic, but of course the illicit one is the ones that they put in the liquid, the powder, the pills, and all this. So if you see someone and you do have Narcan, I honestly would suggest that anybody have the Narcan, because there are some laws in most states that protect you from trying to help someone with an overdose of an opioid. And just remember that it only works with an opioid overdose. Narcan doesn't work with like a cocaine overdose, alcohol intoxication, or overdose. If you said it works with opioid overdoses. So and if you give someone Narcan who's not overdose on an opioid, it should not affect them. So don't be afraid. If you see someone that's exhibiting those symptoms, sleepiness, drowsiness, can't stay awake, the breathing is decreased. It's just, you can tell that they're struggling with their breathing. Use the Narcan.
And they
call 911 immediately and use the Narcan.
Right. And after that, Veronica, is it a point when they are they conscious or unconscious, I guess the word, that you still can apply it?
I think if you feel like someone's OD, you squirt, you use it. Okay. It's nasal, you squirt it anyway. If you feel like that's the problem, that they've OD'd, you squirt it. I've seen people actually come back around after somebody squirted them with it.
Okay. Well, it has invaded our communities deeply. It's beginning to touch the lives of families and friends of our loved ones. And, I think we need to be more educated about it, because children.
In fact, drug users, there I saw a guy that actually knew he was, addicted. When he felt the symptoms, he used it.
Yes, yeah. I've communicated with people that actually playing Russian roulette with fentanyl, and they admitted it. Yes. Kara said,
I don't understand the feeling that I just don't understand.
Kara said, could you share those symptoms again? Were those the basic symptoms of an overdose? If so, please share them again. We're gonna actually
those symptoms. If you know anything about the pupils, if you already see them acting kind of sluggish, kind of weak, choking, gurgling sounds, limp body, their skin is cold. Falling asleep, losing consciousness. Pinpoint pupils. That pupils are very, very like pinpoint. Think of a pin, not the safety pin, but just a regular like push pin, the little pins that like when your parents or aunties are sewing, those pins that you use to hold the fabric together. Think of pinpoint pupils. Something's probably going on. some type of OD. Then now you have to be really careful with it too, because some of those symptoms can be applied to other things that are medical crisis that don't have anything to do with drugs.
Right.
But if it is a person that has a drug problem, or if you suspect a drug problem, administer that Narcan, because even if it's one of those other symptoms, it won't hurt them. So that's why you need to also have 911 on the way immediately. Because it could be somebody you don't know, but you don't know if they're a drug abuser or if they're addicted to anything. If they're having those symptoms, if you just think that that's what it is, administer it.
That's good. And like I said, I think it's time for us to do a presentation to our community through this program, Veronica, to educate folks a little bit.
Look at their nails. If their nails look blue, that means lack of oxygen. If their lips look ashen, lack of oxygen. Check their pulse rate. Check their heart rate. If it's irregular, like you count it for 15 seconds and it just seems like it speeds up, it slows down, it's kind of all over the place. Those are some of the, those are a lot of the symptoms that most people have who have OD. But the two that you really can look at are the nails. And I know some people their nail beds may not look like, one person may not look like the other, but just kind of check their lips, see if they look ashen or darkened, and check the nail beds, the fingernail beds, and see if they look blue. They look kind of bluish, there's a lack of oxygen. Or there may be a lack of oxygen, because people are different. You have some people who have dark lips all the time, or you have some people who have their nail beds maybe not as pink as the next person's, or maybe pinker than the next person. So just look at that and other symptoms as well that's going on. With them, like I said, like the pinpoint the pupils of your eyes, of their eyes, the cold, if they're cold and clammy, if they're falling asleep easily, losing consciousness, if they're breathing, their respirations are shallow or weak, things like that. And you can also, for just about everything medical we talk about, you can look under the CDC as well to find a list of symptoms for most illnesses or most conditions or situations.
Well, this is going to be, it's a big topic. I mean, we kind of ignore things sometimes because they don't really affect us at this given point in time. That was just like, and I keep bringing it up, it was just like COVID. We kind of ignored it for a long time until it started really affecting our own loved ones. I mean, there again, we've seen it come from north to the south and then home, So it was something. This is one of those epidemics, that's what I'm calling it, fentanyl epidemic, that is really, really, really important that we start to educate our youth, our family and friends about early on, right here, right now. It's kind of like Noah saying, hey, it's going to rain. It's going to be a flood. I'm telling you, a flood is coming. And, no one really believed it. No one really, took heed to it. Bam, the flood came and it was just too late. So that's where we at. And I just want to make sure that we kind of, educate our family and friends about it. At least start some kind of conversation about it also. But yeah, we'll do a presentation in the upcoming week or so of, I'll get some slides together and more information, and Veronica get some medical information, and we'll just kind of combine all of it together and see can we get more information about this fentanyl epidemic that's coming in. You've seen it on some of the other news stations. I'm pretty sure some people have, where they're talking about it in other communities like Jefferson County and Walker County and different places like that, because the reality has hit. But Tuscaloosa, it is coming. It's here. I'm gonna just go ahead and put it that way. It's here, and it's not by chance. A lot of our young adults are dying. We're having a lot of young people from the ages of 30 to 45 that are all of a sudden not here anymore. I'm gonna just go ahead and keep it real.
Yeah, there. Once again, this is a drug they putting into everything. They press it in the pills. Um, they putting it in weed, and a lot of these people, like some of the folks that you talking about now, they probably been smoking weed for a long time, and hey, we just got this new strain, man. You gonna like it, and it's laced with fentanyl. They don't know it, and they ingesting that stuff, and next thing you know, they have a reaction to it, and they dying. Excuse me. So, um, it's not. It's all that they. I saw it on the news where they use fentanyl to cut the actual drugs that they're using, so they get they get more out of it, and fentanyl is actually relatively cheap to make.
Yeah.
And it is, from my understanding, it's coming from South America. It's where most of it is. No, I'm sorry. It's coming from China, I think it is,
Yeah, I
or
think
or is overseas somewhere. Um, but it's getting into the country some way, shape, form, or fashion, and it's spreading around just like all other drugs have. I don't really know of many drugs that has come from the United States. They always originate somewhere else. So we just have to everybody be real careful with fentanyl. And then you probably got some people out there like, oh man, sure they gonna do nothing to me, or I know my weed supplier, or I know, yeah. This is probably one of the times that you would say that those places like in Colorado or California that has the weed dispensaries is actually the better idea than getting it off a street pharmacist. Because China is regulated, but as far as the pills and everything else, it's you taking a pill. You think that this pill is you think it's a lower tab. But most of them are pain pills. They supposed to be pain pills.
Right.
And you taking you taking a lower tab. You think you taking a oxy or something to that aspect, and it got fentanyl in it. You feeling good, but that might be the last feeling that you get. A lot of people that wind up dying mysteriously of drug overdoses, they don't necessarily say outright that it's been fentanyl, but I think Ron said tonight, Coolio, drug talk said he had fentanyl in his system. The Prince wound up dying from fentanyl. Believe it or not. So it's reaching everybody. It's not even just everyday people. Everybody is affected by this. Everybody.
And you mentioned something about the House bill that they putting in there, and I would bring some of it, Mike. And the House Bill 1, sponsored by Matt Simpson, and passed the Senate unanimously about this bill deals with fentanyl, said Senator April Weaver, who spoke for the bill in the chamber. We all know that fentanyl is hurting all our communities. State law currently provides fines for possession of any amount of fentanyl and imprisonment for possession of 4 grams or more. Simpson bill adds imprisonment and fines for possession as little as 1 gram of the drug and increase existing penalties. So yeah, actually this is probably much worse than cocaine, trafficking cocaine, Mike.
Oh yeah, definitely. If I'm not mistaken, they said something to the aspect of it's 500 times stronger than morphine. So, and I don't know if you ever had to have morphine before. Morphine is relatively strong.
No,
not relatively, it's strong.
I haven't, but I'm just saying, just the process, the thinking of, when they give morphine, it's normally during the time of unbearable pain that you just want to settle a person on out, during the hospice situation. A lot of
Yeah,
times.
or you're in some sort of drastic pain, and a lot of times it's a timer on the morphine drip that you get. Like they'll give you a button, you can hit it. But,
if it's not time, it's not going to deliver.
Yeah, if it's not time, then you can't have it. So that's how strong morphine is. And fentanyl is 500 times stronger than that. So
fentanyl is 50 times stronger than heroin and up to 100 times stronger than morphine.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, we're gonna put us a little presentation together. I'm gonna try to be at Stillman on Tuesday, next Tuesday for the program, and we might be able to stream that form if they want it to be streamed. And other than that,
yeah, I'm implying that if it was 80 invites to 80 churches, it would be so beautiful if 80 churches or representatives for all 80 of those churches showed up to that event.
hey,
It says a whole lot if the churches would say, okay, well, we're gonna band together and we're gonna work on our community together. And I truthfully think that you can see some change going on, but we got to be together with it. We got to be together.
well, Mike, I see a bit. Like I said, I see small changes. Some things we're just not going to be able to control. But I'm seriously, I'm seeing a decrease. I think there's a decrease in a lot of things that were going on with the youth shootings, even the drug houses. Um, I think there's been a small change. I mean, either they're realizing they're in jail, in prison,
Excuse me.
or just plain right might be dead. I'm seeing a big change. I'm seeing some changes that people might not recognize, but it takes a community to come together and keep doing what we're doing. Don't give up. Don't stop. Like I said, I'm proud of the fact that Shelton State is involved. Power is getting our children involved. Power and Shelton State, Stillman College, all of this. Just like I said, just think of all of this coming together, and we're seeing giant steps of changes. Is there room for improvement? Of course. But right now, I'm seeing some small changes. I think it's good to say, hey, man, we had a shooting last week. Man, we went from what we're gonna do. We don't want to talk about it. It's happening. It's hot. It's getting hot. Hey, 2 years ago we were seeing shootings even during the pandemic. We were seeing people still doing the shooting, the killing, the bomb, and it's changing. It's changing. Maybe it's hitting home more. I think. Just keep praying, keep asking for change, keep talking to the young people. What your program is doing, with the youth, with Mello and Miss Jackson and all those young mentors. I call them young mentors. What they're doing, how they're expressing themselves and making a change and encouraging. So it's a group effort of everybody doing what they're doing.
Yeah, as long as everybody does something, something is getting done. May not be getting it done as fast as the next person would want it, but what you may be doing may not be as fast as the next person. But guess what? If you're all doing something, everybody has a different role. Everybody has may have a different role to play. The fact that everybody wants to contribute is what's going to make a difference.
Well, y'all, we'll give them a couple more minutes. And it's time for me to do the do. I put some long hours in this week. Mike, you had a Tuesday off, so me and Veronica had to hold it down for you on Tuesday.
I appreciate y'all holding it down for me, Daryl. I miss you. I tried to tune in. Actually, for some reason, I couldn't get on. So, but I hope everything went good. And I'm sorry I missed out on Tuesday, but yeah, we had some unforeseen problems over here.
Okay. Well, we had a really good, very informative short show, and hey, we shut it down, and everybody enjoyed it, and we're gonna do the same thing tonight. And it's been very informative. I encourage our guests. I guess it's time to start inviting more guests to come on the program and share more information like that. That's part of our mission. Also, getting messages out there about different things. Let's see.
I absolutely agree. I do one more time. Want to remind everybody about Saturday, 11 to 2 with Greater Faith. And I know that we're supposed to have a little bit of rain on Saturday. So the way they're talking is, if it does rain, then they're gonna move everything to the inside of the church. But if it don't rain, everything gonna be on the outside. So don't let the rain stop you from coming on out there having a good time with your family and friends, and seeing what Greater Faith has to offer to the community.
Okay. Well, y'all have a great Easter weekend. Like I said, it's supposed to rain. Hopefully, we won't have to deal with severe weather coming our way. But let's just have a great, safe weekend and get ready for next week.
All right, y'all got two stages y'all don't want. Veronica says she'll take them.
Okay.
Chocolate.
Do what now?
I said they got some Easter eggs they don't want. Did you say you'll take the chocolate ones?
No, I don't want no chocolate eggs.
That's what the cat baby.
No, I don't want them.
Well, y'all.
But I will eat the other ones. I already told y'all I'm going over there to somebody Easter egg hunt.
As much as they call DJ, you might well go to somebody's egg hunt.
Look, it might be a bunch of plastic eggs out there. Much as the eggs cause, it might be a bunch of plastic eggs out there this year.
That's what you gonna get. If somebody got some real ones, you tell me, hey, don't cook them.
Now, I will say, I was in Whole Foods today in Birmingham, and it was like eggs went from $2.99 up to $9.99. So the basic ones, they have come down, but when you start talking about the organic, and then of course the brown ones are kind of like anywhere from $5 to $6. So I like I like the brown ones, and some of those are organic. So those Eggless Best and other name brands and stuff, like they are still high, but some of them have come down. But what surprised me was when I saw the regular, like what used to be like like Lay's potato chips or any other brand that might be like some of the other name brands that might be like $3.98 or something. All of them are like over $5 now. It's enough to make you kind of straight. It's enough to make you start eating a little bit better because nobody's paying $5 for a bag of chips. It was just half air.
I just want to say, if you look at them chips, like they don't sale, but if you look at them chips, first of all, the bag is smaller, and then like you said, it's half air in them. Mm-hmm. It used to be if you get a bag of Cheetos or some Fritos, they bag would be a little bit fuller than the potato chip. And it's kind of like they the same way, and they bag small now too. So it's like, man, what y'all doing? But I kind of get it, and in the aspect of, and by the way, with them brown eggs, y'all know the difference between a brown egg and a white egg, right?
Tell me, I don't.
zero difference. The brown egg comes from the chicken. If you look at the temple on the chicken, it's either white or it's brown. If the temple is white, it's gonna have white eggs. If the temple is brown, it's gonna have brown eggs.
Okay. Didn't know that.
Yeah, so they just you think you pay because it's a different color egg, and that's the only time they're gonna make you pay more for something that's brown over something that's white. That's crazy. But I ain't gonna get into that.
It's just a difference. And then sometimes it depends on those brown ones tend to be more of an organic. If depending on what brand it is, they'll tell you just kind of like when they say no steroids has been put into this chicken and stuff like that. When you're buying meat, sometimes those hens are fed, grass fed and stuff like that. So some of them, if they're fed, the feed matters. But as far as just the color itself, it doesn't matter because I get eggs, so I get eggs from my brother. He has chickens. And there's a variety of brown colors. So
I wish I had me some land. I have me some chickens out there right now.
We're all get about to the point where everybody's gonna be trying to buy chicken rather than the egg.
Yeah, he's had chickens, and it's like I'm so glad he has chickens. I'm glad he has chickens. It was like I never thought I'd be so glad that he has chickens.
Hey y'all, it's time for me to go. I appreciate the conversation. So we're gonna take it up on Tuesday. I'm gonna try to make it up to Stillman. Hopefully y'all can make it, and if not, I'll try to stream it and go from there. We'll talk about it later.
Okay.
We'll have the program also still.
All right. Y'all have a good night. Be safe. Have a good weekend.
Okay.
I got you.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Tuscaloosa, get ready for the TTown Memorial Day Weekend Blues and Grill Festival. Saturday, May 27th at Pelmore Park, featuring O.B. McKenna, Lavelle Hollywood,
Is you 25 and
Arthur Young, Tucker,
They call me Tucker.
TK Soul,
don't drive me.
Miss Jody, plus Donnie Ray and the J. Mars Group. Also a special guest